MSI has come to a close. And it was sick. G2 went deep, the grand finals were nuts, and Chovy finally broke his curse. But there was something sort of overshadowing the event. Something big, annoying, and, well, unstoppable.
Keen, a wall that stands in the way.
Yeah, continuing just to walk towards them. My God, the damage as the skies descend onto Fnatic here. Keen just wandering forward. He'll find the Q onto Razzle, and now Chovy is flying down.
We need to have a talk about K'Sante, because after this weekend, I think even Riot can admit he is beyond busted.
Yo, that is sick.
Okay, so we are going to talk about K'Sante at MSI because he had a huge presence at this event, and I think it was a breaking point for a large part of the League community. But first, we need to understand how he got here. And in order to do that, we need to talk about K'Sante in general. K'Sante is a top laner who was added into the game at the end of 2022 and was just categorically busted from the get-go.
Dude!
Now I know what you're thinking. Isn't that every League champ in the modern era? Yes, but K'Sante took it to a whole other level. Now, I could recount for you the plethora of bullshit that encompasses this guy's kit, or I could just run the Showmaker copy pasta.
이게 크산테다. 체력 4700, 방어력 329, 마저 201인 챔피언이 저지불가 실드, 벽 넘기는 거 있고요. 에어본 있고, 심지어 쿨타임은 1초밖에 안 되고, 마나는 15 들고, W는 심지어 변신하면 쿨 초기화에다가 패시브는 고정 피해가 들어가며, 그 다음에 방마저로 올리면 올릴수록 스킬 가속이 생기고, Q에 스킬 가속이 생기고, 스킬 속도가 빨라지고, 그 다음에 공격력 개수가 있어가지고, W가
Now, the issue with K'Sante isn't so much that he's busted from a numbers standpoint. I mean, he was, but Riot did nerf him repeatedly. You can actually see here the just array of changes they've subjected the Big Bad Lad to over the better part of the last year. But it's done basically nothing to deter his presence in pro play. Now, to be fair, it did obliterate him in solo queue. Right now, and this has been the case for a couple of months actually, K'Sante has a 45% win rate. That is dog shit. That's like not just bad, that's really bad. The worst of any top laner, in fact. It's actually so bad that Riot maybe thought they'd got him under control and buffed him going into MSI.
Pretty nicely there.
Nice W by Ben.
To make sure he can get it done. Can he? The all-out comes on through as Zeus was taking the turret.
That's a champion. That's a champion.
Champ?
That's a champion in League of Legends.
What is that champ?
I think it's safe to say that this event was a bit of a breaking point for the League community when it comes to K'Sante. The question is why? Why was K'Sante so busted at this event in particular? Well, recent buffs and the general insanity of his kit aside, a big reason was lane swapping. You see, right now, Professional League is back in a lane swapping meta, which means teams are swapping the strong and weak sides for a brief period, mostly to avoid really toxic lane matchups. What this means is the top laners now have to survive 2v1 with dives of 3 or 4 players in the early game, which is hard. You're gonna get less CS, less experience, and of course, 0 kills unless someone like botches a dive or something. You're basically playing the League equivalent of solo offlane in Dota, which, surprise, surprise, top laners in League aren't built for. If you're playing Jax or Aatrox and you're just shoved out of the early game, it's gonna be really hard to stay relevant. Unless, of course, you're K'Sante and have all the things Showmaker said. The meta right now is to pick top laners who can do a lot with very little. It's also why we're seeing a lot of Zac right now, because he can basically survive all of these dives with his self-heal. But no one is better at being relevant in every stage of the game than K'Sante. I know this doesn't look that obscene, but this is a very, very classic K'Sante thing, right? He zones out, gets caught, CC1, CC2, CC3, taking damage, almost dead, very close to dead, dashes forward, CC'd again, and then he just f***ing Nocturne ults over the f***ing wall and kills the f***ing support while he's at it. Now, to be fair, people did try to come up with answers. Twisted Fate could win lane against him if there was no swap, or if his team read the opponent's swap correctly. And instead of team fighting against K'Sante, teams started picking Camille midway through the event to play for sides instead. But I don't think Camille can do this. This is a literal 1v3 about to be a 1v4, and he almost kills the ADC. Okay, now to be fair, Keen is basically the best K'Sante player in the world. He actually destroyed T1 in the LCK finals, which this clip is from. Please just watch this ult against the Zac. Ults him out of the leap. Finishes him off, and then perfectly times every auto attack and his fucking Q, whatever it is, to just finish off the passive. Respect where respect is due. He is still a high skill ceiling champion. So naturally, Keen picked K'Sante in game 1 of the grand finals. Now, in my opinion, there's probably no better example of just the average everyday problem with K'Sante than this game. This is a lane swap that BLG put against Keen, right? You can see they shove him out of lane here by just throwing everything at him. He won't die, but he will recall. They rotate the TF down here. They dive him with 3 champions and just kill him really easily. So they get the kill, right? First blood against the K'Sante. This is good. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Take him out of the game. And a couple of minutes later, they even do it again. They pop heal, so he can't kill the support. They CC him, Lucian flashes, and that's the kill. Okay, so K'Sante dies again at Drag, gets a 1-for-1 at the Baron fight, but then, come Elder, surprise, surprise, K'Sante things start happening. Front line's here, dashes forward onto the back line. Please watch this. What are they supposed to do? 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 What is he? He's an assassin! He's an assassin! Even the casters make note of it. Listen.
Might drop as well. Help in the backside in the meantime, it is Keen. Keen who's making the difference.
Yes, it's the Karthus ult, but they can't play the game. And again, I picked this game because this wasn't one of these games where Keen like had a sick laning phase, pops off, snowballs. This is an average K'Sante game where he had a pretty unillustrious laning phase. He's actually down a level to the TF. Once K'Sante enters these backlines, there is just nothing they can do. And watch the finish on the Elder here, because this is important. So they go to finish the Elder Dragon, right? Chovy has the damage, so Keen just walks forward. Does he look worried? Does Keen look worried?
Chovy on that objective wants to give him the buff.
Does he look afraid? Get Elder. Now that was Elder on a Karthus, mind you, so that happens. And they just coast their way through the rest of this game. They win the finals, of course, not because of K'Sante, because Gen.G are insanely sick, but the K'Sante thing did leave a bit of a sour note on the event as a whole. Now, you might be asking, why didn't they ban K'Sante? Well, people did, a few times. But fundamentally, these teams had to ban out specific champions to counter their opponents. Like, lots of champions are good against individual strategies, and lots of incredible players have pocket-pick champs that other teams don't want to deal with. In a fucked up way, K'Sante is like too good to ban, right? Because he's not specifically good against any one strategy, he's just always good. That said, Chovy did finally break his curse, winning an international tournament, which was sick to see. You can see this really wholesome reaction here. We've all waited for it for a long time. Church of Chovy, baby. But yeah, like a lot of these modern champs, Yuumi, Yone, even Viego, I would argue, the issue with K'Sante is the innate strength of his kit, his identity, right? You can't give a champion various repeatable forms of CC immunity and just not expect him to pop off in high levels of play. I always say that K'Sante is a champion that a 13-year-old would come up with in third period French, right? This like dream champ that a middle schooler puts down on a notepad when they have no concept of like game balance or health. It's like, oh, what if I was super tanky, but also had 3 dashes, and what if they were unstoppable, and what if I had no cooldowns, and what if I also had true damage because everybody else gets it, so why not? He's Ornn with the mobility of a Kali. Like, it doesn't make sense. And by that, I literally mean it just doesn't pass the eye test. Like, you just watch this champion play League of Legends and you're just like, why the f is this in the game? There's no better example of this than the Yankos Rage. Please watch this.
I mean, surely he well won before, right? So we can kill him.
And Zhonya's. Watch this.
No! No! No!
What is this, dude? What is this? Until Riot reworks K'Sante in a meaningful way, a way that admits they were wrong and that the champion concept is just flawed, he will continue to ruin pro play. Look, he's a cool character with a really cool aesthetic and a really cool kit and is genuinely super fun to play with a really high skill ceiling. He's also laughably, incomprehensibly stupid and genuinely concerning for the future of League. So please, Riot, for all of our sakes, just fix K'Sante. This is a clip, bro, that I watch and I'm just like, my eyebrows go up every time. You cannot play League of Legends for a sustained period of time and watch this and not just feel so offended on Jankos' behalf. I don't think you can nerf that, man. I just don't think that's a numbers thing. I think that's a rework. I think you just have to rework this.